Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to have a deep discussion about foundations and everything there is to know about them. Well, not everything we need to know, but most of what we need to know. This will be part of a new series here on my channel, Makeup 101, and today we're going to talk about A. What is the purpose of our foundation? B. What types of foundations are there? And C. One of the most burning questions, how do I find the right one for me? If you're new to this channel, then a special welcome to you. Here we deal with all sorts of makeup related topics, such as tutorials, reviews. Most of the time I just try to share my knowledge about makeup application, for example, this video. So if that's something that is interesting to you, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell for the heads up every time I upload a new video. This video might be a little long because we have a lot to cover, so in the description box below you'll find time marks for each of the topics that we're gonna cover. Now let's not waste any more time and let's get started. Okay, so I'm gonna start with what foundation is meant to do and what do we expect from it. Now, I know a lot of people expect that applying foundation will make them have this flawless, beautiful skin, and you know what? That's not the point of foundation. There's a myriad of players that take part in creating a flawless skin. You have to use moisturizer, the foundation, some concealer, in some cases even powder, but foundation by itself, it won't give you that flawless base, not by itself. Now, I'm saying this because I don't want you to feel frustrated or maybe even deceived when you go and buy a new foundation and you try it on and it doesn't give you what you expect, because the real purpose of foundation is to cover minor imperfections and give some uniformity to our face. That's it. Now let's talk about what types of foundations are there, that they can vary in both consistency or texture and in coverage. Whether in Sephora, Ulta, the drugstore, Walmart, whatever, there are so many formulas of foundation and so many packages, but I'm going to break it down for you. So there are three types of foundations: liquid, creams, and powder. Liquid foundation, I believe that is the most popular formula for foundation because most of the people can find what they're looking for within that criteria. It would mostly suit people with minimal to no imperfection that are still looking for that uniform look that they want to achieve by using a foundation. Now, with some liquid foundations, you can build them up, apply another layer, and get a medium coverage look. But in general terms, liquid foundation is light to medium coverage, and you can find all sorts of finishes, from dewy to satin and matte. There are some liquid foundations that have a thicker consistency, hence higher coverage, and they are considered to be cream foundations. Usually, these cream foundations would be very good for people with dry skin because those thick formulations have more hydrating qualities. And they can be found in either a bottle, like liquid foundations, or in a stick formulation, like the MAC foundation, Hourglass, Smashbox, Milk, and probably many others. The last category of formulas would be the pressed powder or the compact foundation that are usually with high concentration of pigment and are therefore either full or high coverage foundations. Now, usually the powder formulation also have oil absorbing properties, and that would benefit people that have oily skin. That being said, there are some liquid foundation that would get you a full coverage kind of look, and there are powder foundation with light coverage, which brings me to my next topic. How do I find the right one for me? Now, in choosing the right foundation, one should take into account three aspects. One, your shade and your undertone. Though the shade of your skin may change throughout the year or even from year to year due to, hormonal changes. I know for myself that I have foundations that I use in the winter and other foundations I use in the summer. But the undertone of your skin does not change. But before I go further, I just want to say this. There are a bunch of videos out there on YouTube explaining how to find your undertone. To be honest with you, I think it's not that important. So please don't stress out about it. I'll tell you in a few minutes why I think it's not important, but for now, let's talk quickly about undertones. On one side of the spectrum, we have the cool or pink undertone. On the other side, we have the yellow to olivey warm undertone. And then in the middle, we have the neutral undertone. And if you're a woman of color, well, that opens up a whole new story here, because some women of color have an orange undertone, a red undertone. Some even have different undertones in different locations on their face, and they might need to use different foundations. But for most cases, women of color or not, we have cool, neutral, and warm undertones. Now, there are many ways to find your undertone, and I'm not going to explain all of them because, as I've said, I don't think it's crucial at all to know your undertone. But the easiest way to know what your undertone is to look here on your arm and try to see if you recognize any hue to the color that you have. If you notice a yellow hue, that means that you're on the warm side. If you recognize a more pinky hue, that means you're on the cool side. And if you don't recognize any of these, or you see both of them on your skin, that means you're a neutral. Some of the makeup brands even mention the undertone in their foundation, like the NC25 or W40 from MAC, but there's a reason why most brands don't. First of all, it really complicates things. And second of all, some of us will also apply a contour product that is cool toned, and after that a bronzer to warm up the face. So by the end of the day, it all balances out, and we use so many undertones on our face that, you know what, as long as you pick the right shade for your foundation, approximately the right shade, you'll be good to go. Speaking of different shades, let's make sure that when you go and buy a new foundation, you're not completely off. So you go into a store and you want to try a new foundation. At least you want to swatch it, right? Now, if you do your makeup properly, you would apply the foundation on clean and moisturized skin. So why not do that also in the store? Make sure that if you want to swatch a new foundation, you remove any dirt, foundation, any other makeup or whatever you have on your face, remove it a little bit, moisturize even with something in the store, and only then try the foundation. But don't only try it. Look at it. Let it sit. Sometimes foundations oxidize and get warmer. Sometimes you apply a liquid foundation and it turns out matte. So wait, give it to sit a minute, test it out in the daylight, only then make a smart decision. Also, make sure you swatch it on the jawline area right here, not in the center of your face, not on your arm, not everywhere else, just right here on the jawline. And why? Because the center of your face usually have blue circles underneath the eyes or some redness in the center of it, so that is not a good place to start. Sometimes you will even think that you are yellow toned and then your face will be red, so that's a bit confusing. Also, let me ask you something. When you see someone that didn't match her shade right to her skin, where do you see that? Right here, right? That's because this is where the skin of the rest of your body connects with our faces, and this is where you want to try your foundation. Make sure it's the right shade by connecting it with the rest of your body. Make sense? The second thing you need to take into account is the type of skin you have. Do you have oily skin? Then you might need to use some mattifying foundation. It doesn't mean that you'll end up with a matte look. It just means that you need to pick a foundation with oil-absorbing qualities. What about you? Do you have dry skin? Then choose a foundation that is dewy, that has some hydrating qualities into it. What about if you have dull skin? In that case, maybe glowy foundation to lift things up. And if you have normal to combination skin, just find something in the middle. The third thing you need to consider is the amount of coverage that you're looking for. And here too, you don't need to make any commitments. A lot of people, including myself, I have a light coverage foundation to use on a daily basis and a more pigmented high coverage foundation when I want to go out at night and I want this powwow kind of look. Finding the right foundation for you, it can be tricky, I know, but it doesn't mean that it has to be an annoying task. And though I encourage you to go explore, take the time and test new foundations, finishes, textures, and all that, I also say that foundation is not the only thing that we apply on our face. For example, let's say you have a mattifying foundation, but right now your skin feels a little dry. A very good compromise would be to apply a very rich moisturizer underneath your foundation. Problem solved. What about if it's summer, you have a dewy foundation and it's very hot outside and you feel kind of greasy, kind of oily? What do you do then? No problem, you use an oil-absorbing primer. There are many adjustments and changes that we can do with our makeup, especially with our foundations. By the end of the day, it's only makeup. You wash it off, and it doesn't change anything underneath. Okay, that's it. That was our beginner's guide to everything foundation. Let me know in the comments down below if you like this kind of videos of me explaining the different aspects and considerations of makeup application. If you did, I'll do some more. I hope this video was helpful, and if it was, if you like this video, please leave it a thumbs up, and I don't need to remind you to subscribe, right? You already pressed that cute little red button, right? But if you didn't, I'll just remind you, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you'll get notified every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much for watching this video and supporting me. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you again next Friday, 10 a.m. Central. Until then, hug your loved ones, challenge yourself, and have a wonderful weekend. Mwah! Bye.